Hello everyone, this is Clay with DigiFactor, and welcome to another episode of DigiFactor's Animation. In today's episode, I'm going to do a tutorial on how to turn your character into a duck using attachments that I made in Sculptress and Milkshake. So let's get started. Okay, as you can see, I already have Muvizu opened up, and I have selected the crystal clear lighting set, and the reason why is because it's already preset with good lighting and good texture. The texture is on realistic texture. This is a great starting set to create your own set with because of that. The lighting and the shadows are perfect for anything starting off. Now I realize that a lot of you do start a project without the lighting. Y'all use the plain white set where there's nothing there, there's no lighting or anything. So I mean, it's fine, but you know, if you want to really get good with your cartoons and your videos, it's always best to start with the best, since it's already pre-made for you. Okay, and this is the best lighting set by far, I think, in Muvizu. Okay. Later on, I'll probably do a tutorial on lighting and shadows and how important it is to have good lighting and shadows in your videos. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and get rid of this character and get rid of that chair. Okay, now let's find our camera. We want to keep the camera right there. So, okay. Now let's create a character that we're going to use to create our own duck character. So, now, in the list of characters, out of all of them, my two most favorite to use in custom character making is the boy and the girl, due to the fact that they have a good neckline. So that makes it easy to make attachments for the neck, and their body isn't, you know, that big. Let me show you. So he's got a good neckline, and he don't have a very big body. In other words, he don't have a big belly like these others do. Now the man, now he's also good with his shape. He's about the shape, the same built on the boy, but my problem is his neck, and it's always hard to make attachments for his neck because he don't have one. He don't have a neck, so that makes it almost impossible to create a perfect attachment for it. Now I'm not saying he's not good for custom characters. Now there'll probably be other custom characters that he would be good for, and it's the same way with the fat man, the woman, and the fat woman. But for now, we're just going to stick with the boy, and right now his name is Joe. Okay, so let's close this right here, and let's take some things off Joe. Go to edit. We're going to remove the hat because a duck, unless you just want the duck to wear a hat, that's fine. Okay, so we'll take off the hair, and everything else on his head we're going to take off because we don't need it, because we're making our own custom character. So we'll just delete everything off there. Make sure everything is gone. Okay, and then the neck, we don't want nothing on the neck, and the chest, we don't want nothing on that. Let's go to feet and take off the attachments on the feet. Okay. Alright. Now let's get rid of that ridiculous smile, because right now he don't have a reason to smile because someone took his face off. And I don't think I would want to smile if someone took my face off. Anyway, we're going to change his shirt. We're going to give him a long sleeve shirt. And let's turn that shirt into a dark brown color, because the duck's going to be brown. Okay. I mean, you can make it any color you want. You know, that's fine. Okay. Okay, and then on the legs, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to keep it on long pants, and then we'll change that to brown. Now let's change his shoes to brown. Keep it on shoes, not boots. So let's change that to brown. Okay, now let's give him some gloves. Go to his arms, choose gloves. Choose that glove, the short one. And then we'll change that to brown. Okay, now he has his full body tights on, and he's ready to be customized. Now we'll keep that open. Now let's start bringing in our custom attachments. Now let's minimize Muvizu, and right here is an icon for 3D milkshake named Ducky, because these are the parts that I made for this tutorial, and I use Sculptus to make these pieces, and I just exported it and then imported it into 3D milkshake. The reason why, because everything comes out so smooth that way. So this is how I've been making most of my new attachments. With that said, let's open up 3D milkshake by clicking on my little icon, and here's all of my attachments that I've made for our duck character. Okay. Now the only piece we need right now to start with is the head. Okay. Now these pieces here I'll make available for download in the description of the video down below. So that way, if you want to follow this tutorial to give you a better understanding, then you can download those and then watch the tutorial over again and then go along with the tutorial step by step. Okay. Now, right now, like I said, we just need the head right now. So in the hierarchy, click on the Groups tab, and we're going to deselect the head. That way we can delete everything else that's selected. So delete that head, everything else, and keep that head. Now let's click on that head. Click on your Moves tab. Let's just move that around for a minute. Okay. Now first I want to show you something. This right here is this is the axis, and right now you're looking at this section right here is the right side view, and in the right side view, this pink line right here is going to be your x-axis. Okay, so that way if you got it set just on the x, let me show you, you can, whoops, hold on a second, we'll lock these, I think, yeah. Let's see how that works again. See, in the X, all you can do is move it left and right on the front view. So you can't move it nowheres in the side view or the top. Well, you can on the top view because it's left and right, not forward and backwards. And pretty much the same way, like if you got it on the Y, you can only move it up and down. So you can't really do nothing here, just these two. Okay, and then if you just select the Z-axis, and all you can do is left and right, up and down, left and right, here and here. So up and down here and then left and right. But we're going to select all of them. We want all of them selected. Now, this right here on the top view, this part of the head right here is the face. This is where the face is going to be. Now, here's what I figured. When you first open up Muvizu and you load in your first character, that character pops up facing straight at you. Okay. Whenever you import a attachment, for some reason it's like facing the opposite way, and maybe above the head or right inside of the head, facing the opposite way. What we want to do is, we're not turn the character around, but we want to turn the attachments around. We just did the character. So that way when the character's face facing us, and we have that attachment turned the other way, and when we import it, the attachment will be in the right pointing the right direction in the right position that we need it. So with that said, let's go back to 3D Milkshake. Now, like I said, this right here in the top view, this part right here is going to be the face. So over here in the hierarchy, we're going to click on the rotate button. In the models tab, we're going to click on the rotate button. Go back to our top view, and we're going to click, and we're going to rotate it straight up and down like that to the right. So your face is now right here facing up, and the face is like right here facing that way and this way. And well, it's a little lopsided, so let me straighten that up a little bit. Now let's click on the Moves tab and the Models tab, and let's put that head right in the center of that axis. Okay, now before we let me select, because I'm going to start that fresh. Now before we export it, we got to make our textures. So let me minimize 3D Milkshake, and let's open up, and I like to use paint.net, and right now this is version 4.2.8. This is the newest version. Okay, now paint.net is free, and it's a great alternative to Photoshop. Now Photoshop's good, don't get me wrong, but when I got free stuff like this that pretty much does a good job, then I'm not going to spend all that money on a program that I already got something for free, and you can't argue with free. And paint.net has a easy learning curve. It's not difficult at all. Okay, and we're going to use this canvas right here, you know, and you can pretty much make your own and give it a different size. When so like if you create a new, then you can size it, choose the size that you want it to be. But for now, we're just going to use this. This little toolbar right here is all your editing tools. This right here is your layers, and this right here is your color wheel. So in the toolbar, we're going to click Shapes. Then right over here on the top toolbar, these are the options to the Shapes bar. What I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it on square. And then right here, you have other options for it. Now you can make it with just an outline, which is like this. Okay. Or you can do a fill-in, which is like this. Or you can do a fill-in with outline. So right now the inside of it's white and the outline is black. So let's get rid of all that. Now what we want is just regular fill-in, which is right here. Now we're going to make a dark color, brown color. Dark color, brown color, listen to me. A dark brown color. So let's adjust that slider right there to make our dark brown. Right there is pretty good. So now we got our shape selected. We got the shape that we need and the fill-in. So let's make a dark brown square right there. Now once you create your square, click over here anywhere to deselect it, because once you change colors and it's still selected, that's going to change the color. So we don't want that. So just click anywhere to start a new one. And right now I'm going to create a like a goldish yellow color, about like that. This is going to be for the beak and the feet. Okay. All right. Now let's. I'm going to make two of them. I'll make one here. This is going to be for the beak and the feet, and the second one is going to be for the second part of the beak that will have the mouth on it later on, the inside of the mouth. Okay. Now deselect that, and let's change our shape to the ellipse. And let's use a solid black color. Over here to the right, let's make a small circle. Drag it right in the middle, right there like that. Okay, now this is all the colors that we need. Okay, so we're going to save that. And we're going to save it as a PNG. And I'm going to overwrite the one I just made. This is in my projects folder that I created for this tutorial. So, save and push OK. And then OK again. I can minimize that. Now let's go back up to 3D Milkshake and let's apply that texture we just made. Click on the Materials tab in the hierarchy. And then click on New at the bottom here. Click on New to create a new material. And in that material, we're going to click on the first none bar. And we're going to navigate to the texture that we just made. Click on it and open it up. Now you see that the textures is applied to the material. Now do keep in mind that when you apply textures to your object in 3D Milkshake, you got to make sure that you have that shape selected. And then you double click on that material. Now you can probably see that the material didn't apply to it yet. In some cases, what you want to do in this preview right here, you want to right click and then make sure that the textures is checked. That way the textures will show up. You can also do the same thing with the other views too. You can add the textures as well. It don't matter. But we're just going to use the view. Now, as you can see, it didn't apply. That's because we need to adjust the textures to fit the head. And then to do that, we go over at the top toolbar, and we're going to click on the Windows tab. In the Windows tab, we're going to click on Textures Coordinated Editor, and there's our texture. Now, also the same. This right here is the drop-down list of every piece that you created. Even if it's not selected, it's still going to be there. But if you don't have it selected, you won't be able to edit the textures to the model piece at all. So you got to make sure that it is selected in the 3D modeler, so you can edit the texture. So we already got it selected, and we want to choose front. Well, it really don't matter since we're using solid colors. You can select any position that you want. Okay. Now, but if you're using textures that actually has pictures on it, like of a face, hair, designs, or anything like that, then it is important of which direction you're going to choose. So that is important. So we got front, and then we'll click on Remap. And as you can see, the head just popped up. Now all we have to do is push or click on the Scales button, and let's just scale it to where it'll fit right inside that brown area. I like that. Now close it and click on the preview, and now you can see that the texture has been added. Okay. Now on the positions, remember I said we had to turn it straight up and down like there on the top view, and this is the face. Okay, well now let's export that. Okay, and then let's export it to ASE. Now do keep in mind, whenever you're exporting into ASE format, it is very important that you export the model into the same directory as your textures, because if you don't, and once you import it onto the character, you're going to get errors saying something about material don't exist or whatever, and it won't load. Or if it does, then it won't have no texture at all. So it's important that you export into the same directory as your texture. And we're going to, let's see, open that, and I'm going to overwrite this piece that I've made because I practiced with it a little bit. We're going to overwrite that. Okay, and then when you do that, you'll have the ASE export. For Muvizu, you don't have to change none of this. Just leave it alone and click OK. Okay, now we're all set to import that head onto the character. So let's open up Muvizu. Okay. Now for the sockets. Okay, now depending on what socket you're going to use for what, and say like you're going to have more attachments to the head, you gotta figure out what attachment that you actually want to use to be able to have the sockets available for each attachment. So on this one, I'm going to use the face mask. Click on the import button, and then click on the head in that directory. So and let's click open, and there we go. And like I said, this right here is the face, and the back of the head, and then the side. So we got it in the right position. Thing of it is, it's a little bit too big, but that's fine because we can adjust the size here. And then let's just bring it down. We don't want to have no neck showing at all. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's good. Now we got the head in. Okay, and just give me a minute. I got to do something real quick. I'll be right back. I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to take care of something real quick. Okay, now that we got the head, now we need to add the torso, the body. So let's minimize Muvizu and bring back up our milkshake. Now, if you want, you can just keep undoing to go back to everything, but we're just going to go ahead and do a new, and then reopen up our models again, like that. So now, the only thing we need to do is deselect the torso. Everything else we don't need, so we'll delete that. Okay, now let's go back to our materials tab, and let's create a new material. Import that same material that we just made, and then double click it to apply. Whoops, see, if you don't choose your model piece when you try to apply, you'll get this error right here. So you got to make sure that you select your model. So let's go back to Groups tab and double click to select our model. Now click on Material and then double click that texture to apply. Like before, we'll go back to the top menu and click on Windows tab and then click on the Textures Editor. Okay. And we only have the torso, so it's already selected. Just to show you what I'm talking about with solid colors, it really don't matter. I'm just going to go ahead and do top instead of front. And I'm going to remap it and then scale it. See, it really doesn't matter. But if it had actual textures on it, then yes, it does matter on your positions that you choose in order for that texture to show up right. Okay, now what we need is this belly. This right here is the belly on the top view. This is the belly. This is the belly right here. Okay, now we need to go to the Models tab, click on Rotate. And we're going to turn that belly straight up and down like that. So now your belly is facing that way and that belly is facing that way. So click on the Moves tab and let's put it right in the center, like that. Now, do keep in mind, this is the torso. So if we keep it in that position, then when you import it into Muvizu, this is your head will be right here. So we need to bring that down. So we'll bring it down to what we think the neck will be, about like that. Okay. Now we're ready to export. Let's export to ASE again, and again remember, export into the same directory as your texture. We'll name that body. And then again, just click OK. Don't change anything. Not for Muvizu anyway. Now let's minimize that and bring Muvizu back up. Now I will say this: whenever you're adding attachments that you created, you will go back and forth to the 3D modeler and to Muvizu until you get it just right. I'm not going to say you won't, but you will. And me, I do it all the time in order to get it just right. Okay, now let's add that to belly. Now, let's see. We'll go to, see, there's chest and back. These are the two options that I have. Okay, I'm going to choose chest because I'm not going to put anything else on the chest. Actually, I can use back because I'm not going to do anything on the back too. So that is important on what socket you're going to use. You're going to think about how many attachments that you're going to have. Now, you only have 2 sockets for 2 attachments. So whatever you're going to have on the back, make sure you do the back. If you're going to have anything else in the front, then you'll have it in the front. So like you're going to have a body, then maybe chest. You get the point. So I'm going to choose chest, and then I'm going to click on import. Then I'm going to click on that body. Okay, there we go. Well, maybe it went a little bit too low, so I'm going to move it up a little. Okay, like that. We want the body and the neck to join together. Okay. On the scales, let's unclick the link tab, and then let's start shrinking it down to where we have it to where we want it to fit just right for our character. Okay. Okay, so I got that scale all the way, and I need his arms to be showing, or his wings. I got that one showing, but I can't scale it anymore. So that means what I need to do is go back to milkshake, and on the top view we're going to click on the scale tab, and on the top view we're going to kind of scale it inward a little bit, about like that. Now let's re-export that again and overwrite it. Okay. Just click OK on everything. Now let's get rid of that and re-import it again. Okay, let's move it up to where the neck and the head and the body meet. Alright, and the scale and length. Let's see if that works. Okay, yeah. Let's move it over a little bit. Let's see. Let's widen it a little bit more. That's too much. Okay, that'll work. Now, you've noticed that his belly is kind of bulging out a little bit too much. So let's shrink that a little bit. And his body's too long, so let's shorten that. Now, I think I'm going to bring the body up a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. I like that. That's perfect. So you got the front of the belly. You got his face. His face will be right here in the front. So everything is in the right position that we need it, because we positioned it in the 3D model, in 3D milkshake. So everything's good there. Now, if you've noticed the leg on how he's standing, we want to adjust the body, kind of angle it a little bit on the rotate. Let's see. Right about there. I guess that's good enough. I just don't like the postures when they got set for these. I wish we can change them. I would. If I had the source code to Muvizu, man, I would make my own updates with it. Alright. So, what we need to do is now change the color of the legs and feet. And we're going to do that by just changing the color. So, let's click on the legs. And we're going to change that color to like a goldish color. Now, in the textures back that we made, it's actually what I meant was it's going to be for the feet and beak only. So, sorry about that. So, okay, we got the color of the legs that we need. Now we need to change the color of the shoes. Same color. Just move it around until the colors match. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is import the beak. Okay, got the beak. We got to get the beak. Also, remember to always save your project, just in case Muvizu or something crashes. I will name it Doug. Always important to save after every step or few steps. Okay. Now let's minimize Muvizu and bring back the 3D milkshake. Let's reopen that. And we're just going to select the beak. So in the hierarchy groups tab, just unselect the beak and then delete everything else. And that way we just have the beak. Okay. Now select that beak and let's click on the rotate and kind of rotate it a little bit and straighten it out. Okay. And let's bring it down. Whoops. Undo that. Now click on the move. Now let's bring it down right in the middle of the axis. Now in the top view, let's center it. Now let's rotate it the same way we did the face, the head. But there's something different though we got to do. Now that we have it facing the right direction, we don't want it actually popping inside of the character's head. That's because we have it right in the center of the axis. So we need to click on move, and we need to move it up a little bit, let's say about like that far. That way it will appear in front of his face, in front of his head. You may have to bring it in a little bit in Muvizu, but that's fine. But right now I think this is a little bit too big. So I'm going to zoom in on the top view, and also remember this, the closer you zoom in, the slower your scale is. Let's say if I had it about like that and I scaled it, watch what happens. See, we don't want that. I just barely touched it. So let's undo that. And the closer that you get, the slower your scale will be. So let's scale it a little bit. About like that. Let's see. And we'll keep it. Now, you see right here in the right side view, see where the position is? It's way over here. Okay, and right here is this direction from the top view. I'm trying to make this easy to understand, not trying to use any kind of sophisticated terms or anything like that. So I'm just trying to keep it simple for everybody. So we'll keep it in that position just like that, and this is fine. That way it'll appear in front of the face instead of inside the head. Okay, now we need to add our material, our texture. So let's create a new material. Click on that to navigate and then add our texture. Okay, now keep it selected and then double click to add the material or the texture. Again, back into the Windows tab on the top menu bar, and let's click on the textures editor, and this time we are going to actually keep it on the top, and let's remap it like so. Now this is the one that's going to be in the top square, yellow square, okay, because this is going to be his top beat. Okay, like that. Now we're good. We're ready to export. So let's export it. ASC again, in the same directory as your texture, and let's name that beak. And then save and OK. Now let's minimize and go back to Muvizu. Now we have the head on the face mask. Okay. We need to choose an empty socket that we're not going to use for anything else. So I'll say the beard. The beard will be, I take that back, the nose. The nose will be the top beak. Okay, so let's click on the import and click on that beak. And you see how the beak pops out in front of the face. That's okay. We can bring it in. Let's move it down in the position that we need. Like that. You may need to scale it a little bit. Okay, but like so. Alright, now let's get on the top here and let's move that beat in about like this. Now let's see. Let's scale a little bit and then let's bring it back out some more. Okay, that looks good. Now we need to add the bottom beat. Well, first let's adjust the tilt on that. We don't want no tilt. Maybe it's just the way the character standard. That looks fine though. Now let's do that top beat. Now don't forget to save. Now let's go do that top beat. Let's minimize Muvizu and go back to 3D Milkshake. Just a second. Now do okay, I'm back. Alright, now we're going to use that same beat. Now here's the trick. We want two separate textures, one on the top and then we want a texture on the bottom, which is going to be just a plain solid yellow color. We're going to do that when it's only just one object there, one model piece. That's easy. We're just going to go back to the Models tab and click on Select. Over here in the Select options, we want to select face. That way you'll select the top face of the beak. Okay, let me show you. About like this. And let's go, I'll tell you what, let's do it like this. Here, and we'll do that like that. Okay, and then we'll just select it. And in order to select multi times, hold down your shift key. Just hold down the shift key, and that way you can select multi times. Now once you get all that part selected, go to the Groups tab, and over here in the Groups tab options, you're going to click Regroup. Now we created a group. Deselect it. Now we have two separate groups. Now let's keep that top group selected. Okay, now we don't need to apply the textures because we've already did that previously. Click on the Windows tab and go back to the Textures editor. Okay, going to keep top selected. Alright, now we're going to click on the select the group that we just made, like that. See that? Now let's keep it like that. Now we need to edit this bottom part. Let's do that by going back to the textures, back to paint.net, and we're going to draw something that resembles the inside of that duck's mouth. Over here in the colors wheel, I'm going to select, see a dark red. Okay, we've got the dark red selected. Now let's create a layer just so that if we mess up, we can get rid of that. Okay, keep that layer selected. So now with our color made and selected, let's click on the Line Curve tool. Okay, now let's draw a straight line about right, let's say about right in the middle. Okay, now let's bring this line up like this. Let's bring it in closer like that. Okay, about like so. Now let's draw another line from end to end. And again, let's just kind of like do it like this. I'll take that back. Let's do it like this. Let's see if that will work. Let's undo that. Let's start over again. I'll keep it like that. And now let's draw another line. I will leave it like that. Now let's do the same thing on the inside. Not too big. bring that in more over here and more over here. Now just draw another line from end to end, and let's move that up like this. And let's kind of make it pointy, because this right here will be the tongue. Okay, now let's choose a darker color, red, and then just select our paint bucket and fill that in. Now click over here anywhere on this side, not inside here, but over here, to deselect that color. Now let's go back to our dark red color and let's fill in like, whoops, too much. Now you can change the tolerance right here to make it work like that. Okay, now let's select our select tool, rectangle select tool, and let's drag a square over it like that, and then select the move tool and let's just center it up right about like that. Okay, we're done. Now before we save, make sure you go to the image tab and then flatten all the layers. Now you can watch right there, you see it just made it back one layer again. So that way we can just save it as a PNG instead of a file project, or a project file. I said that backwards. Okay, well that said, we got that done. Now let's reload that texture here. Okay, now let's go back to our textures editor. Now that group is already selected. All we have to do is just click on the move tab and just move it. And you may have to adjust it to where it'll fit. Now let's see how that looks. Okay, but we need the, that might work. Let's give it a try. Okay, let's export that as ASE, and we're going to name that bottom beak. Save and OK. Okay, and I'm back to Muvizu. Now we have the top beak on his nose. We're going to put the bottom beak on the fake beard. Okay, so click on the import and let's choose that bottom beak like so. Alright, now let's bring the bottom beak down past the top beak. Let's see, the bottom beak should be a little bit smaller than the top. Now let's bring that beak in like that. Let's see, we'll bring it up some more like that. Okay. Alright, now here's the trick, is to open the mouth and making it look like it can be animated open and shut. Okay, what we do is we'll kind of like in the rotation, we'll click on the bottom rotation button and we'll kind of rotate it like that, and you'll have to keep bringing it back up like so. You just kind of get it to where you feel it's right for you. Let's see, bring it up more like that. Now you may have to bring it back out. Let's see, am I doing that right? Let's see, bring it back out like so. Okay, that looks good. Now let me show you what I'm talking about, animating the mouth open and shut. Since we already have the nose and the fake beard done, and you don't have a socket on just regular beard, okay, and we don't want the beak to appear on the ear, so the only way you can do this, okay, to make it look like it's open and shut on the camera in the timeline, whenever you do a keyframe, you can just choose deselect visible and it will just have the top beat. And let me show you from the camera. Let me close this. Oh, you don't want to close that. You got to have that. Let me show you with the camera. Let's bring that camera over here. And let's bring the duck right there, and let's move it side like that. Now let me maximize this camera a little bit so you can get a better look. So if you watch, you see the camera. See, look, that looks like he's opening and shutting his mouth. As you can see right here, you can see the outline of the invisible beak, but in the camera you can't. So that gives it the illusion of it actually talking, moving its opening and shutting his mouth like that. Okay, so let's put that back. Now what we need is eyes. So we got to create some eyes. Okay, so this time we're going to go into Sculptress. I'm going to open up Sculptress because I like the sphere. The sphere is so smooth in 3D Milkshake. We're not going to do anything to this. We're just going to export it into our folder, and we're going to call that eye, and then we're just going to save it. Okay. Now let's go back into 3D Milkshake and let's just start anew. Okay, and then we'll go to File and then Import. We're going to import Object because that's the format that Sculptress exports in. So let's go to that folder and then click on that eye, and there it is. But it's black in the preview. That's because we need to activate that shape into 3D Milkshake just by moving it. Oh, wait a minute. So we'll move it, and then now we activate it, so it's there now. Now let's, on all views, let's set reset view, because right now it's very small. And that's the size that will import into Muvizu, and it won't. Nothing will happen. We'll get an error. So we don't want it too small. So let's scale that. I'll start over here. Keep it a round circle on the side and the top. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let me let's see. Top. Let's see. Okay. Reset view. Okay, there. I think that looks good. Now the eyes are different with the positions in the head and the body. Now, right now, if I put the texture on it, okay, let's do that, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We'll create a new texture material and then add that texture. Okay, and then I'll apply it, and then we'll adjust the texture to fit. And if I keep it on front, and we'll like scale it to where we'll have it right over that pupil, about like that. You see, the eye will be straight up and down in the position as we needed the head and the body, but that's not going to work. It's different with the eye for some reason. So what we need to do is rotate it not straight up and down, but left and right, about like that. Now let's do it a little bit more, about like that. Okay, and I'll show you. Now let's export that into ASC in our same folder, and we'll call it I. Okay. Now let's go back to Muvizu, and then let's import that eye. Now the two sockets that I like to use for the eye, unless I make a model that exists as of 3 or 4 parts, then the textures work differently. Yeah, they work differently from each other. So we're going to select, for the eye, one of them, we're going to do brow. Okay, so like that for the eye. Okay, the eye may be a little bit too big. Let's see. Yeah, the eye is going to be a little bit too big. So let's do that over and let's scale it down a little bit. So we'll scale it down like that. Keep it nice and round. Let's see. Okay, that should be good. Now let's export that again and overwrite the one we have. Okay, now let's import it onto our character one more time. Okay, now you don't see it because it might be the right size we need. Let's just move it out like that. Oh yeah, perfect. Now you see how the eyeball popped up right in the front view like the way we need it? That's what I was saying, the eyes are different. The sockets for the eyes are different. So we want to kind of like shrink that eye down a little bit. And we'll keep it, we'll bring it in a little closer, so toward the middle, about like that. Okay, now let's go to the eye socket. And let's add another eye. Okay, now let's do the same thing. Just move it over. Let's scale it a little bit. Like that. We'll move it back over. Let's see. Let me straighten them pupils up a little bit. Hey, if you want, you can have one eye bigger than the other. It don't matter. Make it look more like cartoony. Okay, there we go. And later on in another tutorial, I'll show you how to animate eyes with textures. Okay. Now we got his beak, his head, and his body. Now the only thing left is his tail and his webbed feet. Okay. So I am going to go back to 3D Milkshake. So we'll do that right now. Let's do that. Now let's create a new and then open up our ducky parts. And then we're going to grab just one web feet. We only need one because they're not shaped different. So it doesn't matter which one you use for left and right. So let's just select the left foot, or deselect it, and then delete everything else. Let's grab that left foot and move it back toward the axis. Just like the head and the body, we want to position it the same way. About like that. Now let's put the ankle right about here because his ankle is actually right in the center of the axis. Well, facing up and down on the top view, and have that ankle part right in the center of the axis. Now let's zoom in a little bit so we can scale this thing down some. We don't want it being too big on our character. Scale it down a little bit. About like that. Okay, now let's move that back toward where we had it. Okay. Now, let's apply the texture again. So create a new, and let's add that texture. Okay. And this time we're going to select top and then remount. Let's just scale that to fit right in here. There we go. Now let's export it. ASC, same directory, and we'll just call it foot. There we go. Now, let's select the left foot, and we'll start off with the left foot. So we'll add that foot. There we go. So we got the left foot. Let's bring it down, and it's right on his ankle. See, his ankle's right in the center of the axis. So let's kind of shrink that down a little bit. Not like that. And let's unclick the link in the scale, and let's make it a little higher. Not like that. There we go. Now let's do the left foot, or the right foot, sorry. Okay. Bring it down. So, let's scale it. Unlink, and let's move it up a little bit. Make it higher. About like that. Now, we have his web feet. Now he's really starting to look like a duck character. Only thing left is his tail. Excuse me, I gotta get me a drink, getting a little dry. Okay. Now, for the tail, we're going to actually use the foot. So let's go into 3D Milkshake again. Now let's change the texture. Reposition the foot into the brown texture, right like that. Now, along the top view, let's scale it thin like that. Okay? And then let's flatten it out. Don't make it too long, but we want to make it thin. Keep it. We're not going to keep it in the same position because we're going to put it behind the character. So that means we need to rotate it the other way, like this. Okay, so let's move it right about like that. Now let's export. And we'll call it tail. Whoops. Like that. And then push OK. And let's go back to Muvizu and let's go to the tail right here and then import it. Okay, you can't see the tail because I kind of like got it maybe way a little bit too far. So let's move it out and bring it down about like that. And let's kind of tilt it up some like this. And you can make it bigger if you want. Let's see. I think that looks good. Well, there he is, folks. There, we just created a duck out of a regular Muvizu character. Okay, now let me show you about the animating the beak. So let's close all this out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a recording using Audacity. Okay, and I'm going to record something. Hi there, I'm Howard the Duck. Okay, so let's get that, and let's play that back. Hold on a second. Let's play that back. Hi there, I'm Howard the Duck. Okay, now let's export that as a WAV file into the same folder, and you can see I already got some files made. And we'll say duck. Let's save. Now, when you're doing a customized character with custom attachments and stuff to make a differently or an entire differently character, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I got my headphones on. It's hard to hear myself. Okay. So whenever you're doing a custom character with custom attachments and that, so you really can't see the character's actual face because of the new face that you've created for it. So that means we need to animate the texture of the attachment. So instead of preparing an audio, we're going to prepare a sound effect. And then we'll click on the sound effect that we're going to import it in. So let's click on the duck. Hi there, I'm Howard the Duck. Okay. Now what you need to do is just switch to direct and just go ahead and click on record and then click on that sound. Hi there, I'm Howard the Duck. There we go. Now I'm going to show you how to animate that texture according to the graph on the timeline. Now the best way to do it, and I like to start right at the beginning and listen to that part. Hi there. So that's hi there. So we'll do a cue point right at the beginning of that, and then right at the end of it. Okay. So hi there. There's two words there. Hi there. 2 syllables. 2 words. Hi there. Hi there. Okay. So we'll put a key point right there. Okay. Like that. Now we got it set for the first 2 words. Now let's listen to this over here. So first let's go ahead and do our animation. So right click on the duck and go to direct and properties. Okay. We're going to select on Joe and then we're going to go down to bottom beak. Okay, and then switch to prepare. And see how you got track? Well, we're going to change that track from color 1 to visible. And then the animation, we're going to click on keyframe. And then switch back to direct. And as you can see, you don't see the track, but you see the cue points. So we'll add our first cue point on that we'll add our first keyframe on that first cue point. Click add keyframe and then click, we'll leave it like that. Okay, you just always have your first keyframe to nothing. That is the nothing position, I call it. So we move to the second cue point and then add our second keyframe, and then we'll click current. Alright, and then we'll like move slightly right in between those, add another, like so, and then we'll move here. I think I might have miscalculated. Let's see. Hi there, I'm Howard the... Let's see. Hi there, okay, let's do that over. I think I did it wrong. Okay, now let's go back to that one and then we'll add a current. And then we'll add another and then unclick current. Hi there, I'm Howard. Well, it's close to it. So what we'll do is we'll go back to toolbar. Well, you get the point. I mean, it takes a lot of work on this part. So what I could do is I could put these two closer. This one right here. See. Hi. There. So we want his mouth open right about there again. So properties. And then at the end of that, we want to do where his mouth is shut. Now let's see what that looks like. Hi there, I'm Howard. Okay. So we get I'm. So we're going to need it open, and then shut. Let's see. You just keep playing it back and forth. Hi there, So right here we got Howard the Duck. So let's go back to the timeline, and we'll put a keyframe here, a cue point, a cue point here, and then to right here. Okay? Let's listen to that part there. Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck. So we need, let's see. Back to direct and properties. So we need a keyframe there. And then maybe one here. And then one there. Let's see. Howard the Duck. So we need to put one right in the middle. The duck. And then end it with his mouth shut. Let's see. Hi there, I'm Howard the Duck. That looks good. Close enough. Hi there, I'm Howard the Duck. Now let's see what it looks like with the camera, with him facing the camera. Let's bring that camera up a little bit. Now let's see. Hi there, I'm Howard the Duck. And that looks good. Well, that's it for today on this tutorial, and I hope this really helps those who need a better understanding on how to add attachments to make a custom character. Now later on in a different tutorial, I may do some more attachments and actually put attachments in their hands where they're holding different objects, and then probably animate the textures for the eyes to make them look like they're blinking and then moving around. So anyway, that's pretty much it, and I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of DigiFactor's animation, and just stay tuned for more. I'll be posting when I do, and thanks for being here, and y'all have a blessed day.